Never fear of missing out by clicking that subscribe button and becoming another member of the Babylonian family. If I could slow down time, if I could find a way. And that's enough sharing of that for you. This is the Time Ripper Legendary Assault Rifle, and we're going to have a look over what makes the Tier 3 mod so good and what makes the Assault Rifle so good. But first, Babylon is now partnered with Raffled Up, the one-stop shop to have the chance at scoring yourself some great tech at a low price. Raffled Up has made over 1,800 people happy with their competitions, ranging from store credit, GPUs, VR sets, and even full-on PC rigs to take your game into the next level. Keep your eye out for mega bundle competitions too for your chance to win several £thousands worth of gear, all for less than the cost of a chippy. If you fancy your chances, make sure to use our partner code in the description below and save yourself some money while also supporting us as a channel. Best of luck and enjoy the content. How is it going, Babylonians? That's right, my name's Songs of Race and I am back to bring to you another legendary rifle guide, and today we're looking at the Time Ripper Assault Rifle, which is a fully auto variant and obviously has a tier 3 mod that relates to the song I was singing, because obviously there's no other reason I would be singing, and finally I've lived up to my name of Songs of Race. The tier 3 mod is Ultimate Stiffening. Don't get, there's nothing rude about that. Shots inflict slow on enemies, and this happens every single second. Now I've paired this with a tier 3 mod of Winter Blast, which I got from the Iceberg, which another guide will be coming up on. Also, critical shots and create an icy blast that inflicts freeze on enemies within a 4-meter radius, which also refreshes every single second. And my idea behind this pairing was I wanted to be able to make a bit like a gun that's designed to slow as many enemies as physically possible, whether they be actually afflicted with slow or whether they be afflicted with freeze, and it kind of works. It's basically crowd control in a fully auto rifle every single second, so it's quite nice. But hey ho, we're not looking for that. We're looking at the tier 3 mod. Now the gun itself is pretty bog standard when it comes to damage, rate of fire, all that. Now I have a kind of low one with 75.7k firepower. But it still does the job. It's got a 40 clip size, which is kind of standard, run-of-the-mill, 600 RPM, also standard, run-of-the-mill, 2,874 damage, bit low, or at least in my experience anyway, so I'd preferably, if I was going to go for a fully auto, I'd want something that was over 3k. The reload is a bit quick, it's 1.5 seconds, the crit multiplier is nothing really to write home about at 125%, so what makes this gun really stand out? Well, the tier 3 mod is kind of nice. The slowing on enemies is great, because obviously it slows any enemies that are going to rush you down to be able to melee you, get in your face, that you just don't want there. It also, when you inflict it onto things like elites and all that, you would then slow them down to be able to constantly hit their crit spot, which is probably the main reason you would ever want to run slow on anything. So as you can see from the gameplay that's in the background, you can tell when an enemy is slowed because, one, they're moving slower, which I know sounds obvious, but hey ho, it wouldn't be a guide unless I mentioned it, and also they have like a light blue kind of outline or shimmer to their actual model. When it comes to combat though, this slow itself doesn't really pose any kind of offensive benefit to yourself. Like I said, it's great for crowd control, but obviously you're dealing with one target at a time every single second, which is kind of on the slow side. You want something that's like Winter's Blast, where you can deal with like a bunch of enemies all at the same time, really, if you're looking for that kind of thing. But it's not like we're talking about a damage kind of mod where like Dark Sacrifice or Killing Spree or anything that be able to add to your offensive capabilities. It's just there as crowd control. It's just there to be able to make you easier to be able to hit those crit spots, and that's it's not a bad thing. It's definitely not that. It's just kind of, why would you ever run this when, if you're trying to do speed runs like myself, then you would never want to use this. You'd be looking for a way to be able to kill your enemy quicker rather than actually keeping them alive and slowing them down. So it just doesn't really work. Pair that with the mediocre stats that the gun actually brings, it's not like this is a top tier rifle. It's not bad per se, it's just outclassed by pretty much everything that's out there, and the only thing that really saves it is its looks. And then even then, I don't feel like it really stands out too much compared to pretty much everything else that's out there. So I would probably recommend that you stay clear of this one. Like I say, if in previous guides, if this is like one of the few legendaries that you've got, and this is your current level, and everything else you've got is under-leveled, and or you're looking to try out a couple of legendary guns that you've managed to pick up along the way, then by all means, I would never stop you from being able to try give this a go and just see if it fits into your build. But when you factor into expeditions and obviously endgame, where you're now looking to be able to have like a library of legendary guns that you can take out into the field, this just does not meet the cut, and I do hope this one also gets a buff at some point in the near future. I think what really hampers this weapon is the fact that no class can really benefit from the slow effect. Like, for example, the Pyromancers can benefit from enemies afflicted with Ash, and Technomancers can benefit with enemies afflicted with Frozen, and Devastators obviously when it comes to Bleed. But when you look at slow, there's no one out there that really actually benefits from it. Like, the Technomancer can afflict slow with the or like some kind of pseudo slow with the slow field, but they don't, as far as I'm aware, they don't have anything that increases their damage to any enemies that are afflicted with slow. And I've checked the perk tree, and unless there's some tier 3 mods that I'm just missing, there's just nothing out there. So I would love to be able to see something like the Trickster being able to benefit from the fact that they can go out there, they can slow so many enemies, and then they can actually just slay them as well. And that's possibly where I would push if there was going to be any kind of buff for either this gun or for the tier 3 mod itself. And that, Babylonians, pretty much wraps up what the Time Ripper brings to the table. Now, unfortunately, it did fall a bit flat, and it's just not there, and it's not able to compete with basically everything that's out there. Could it be a decent backup weapon if you were going for some kind of rounds-based skill and your rounds then ran out? Possibly, but then I feel that there are other options out there that are better for, like the Funeral Pyre, for example, with the Shadow Comet, and being able to still be able to have that DPS up rather than just inflicting slow and just slowing down the pace of your game. So I would just leave this or dismantle it, but you still wouldn't use it anyway. But at least until it gets some kind of buff, and fingers crossed it does get one. But like I said, that brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you've found something useful from the gameplay that's in the background. If you did, drop us a like and a subscribe. It would mean the world to us. As always, at the start of the video, there's been mention of Raffled Up, so if you are looking to be able to get your hands onto some kind of PC gear, and you're looking to be able to get yourself into that kind of like ticket thing, then use our link in the description, use the code, save yourself a little bit of money, and just take advantage of that, and hopefully, fingers crossed for you, you get some kind of win out of that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So keep yourself safe, keep yourself well, and I shall see you on that next video.